I don't even know what to say.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most sensational moments from Finding Your Roots, where celebrities uncovered shocking truths about their ancestry.
Even weeks later, Joe was still trying to process the news.
Number 20, Carly Simon. All her life, singer-songwriter Carly Simon believed that her maternal grandmother, Ofelia Oliete, who immigrated to the US from Cuba, had Spanish and Moroccan roots. In 2017, Simon decided to dig deeper into her grandmother's ancestry, suspecting there was more to the story.
She always wanted to remain completely private. She never shared any of her past with us. It was always a mystery, and she kept it a mystery.
The Finding Your Roots researchers travelled down to Cuba, where they sifted through Catholic church documents and uncovered a surprising truth.
Incredible. This is why Shebe said you'll find nothing, because she couldn't find anything.
She couldn't find, and she had things that she was hiding.
Simon's grandmother was actually 40% black and likely downplayed that heritage to avoid discrimination during the Jim Crow era. As a result, Simon discovered that she herself is 10% black, a revelation that left her genuinely stunned and eager to share with the rest of her family.
We have never tested a white person as black as you.
Can't wait to call my sisters and my brother and tell them this.
Number 19, Dion Warwick. Although she grew up in New Jersey, Dion Warwick always knew her roots traced back to Georgia. The story of how her family ended up in New Jersey, however, remained a mystery until she appeared on the show in 2024.
You know what you're looking at?
The deed?
The deed of them buying their land.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Warwick learned that her great-great-grandfather, John Drinkard Sr., owned a farm in Georgia in the early 1900s, likely growing cotton. This was a rare feat at a time when most black farmers were stuck in the cycle of sharecropping. But when a beetle infestation ravaged Georgia in the early 1920s and a bank loan went south, Warwick's grandfather, Nicholas Drinkard, was forced to sell the farm and move to Newark. There he formed a gospel singing group, setting the stage for Warwick's future stardom.
Loved to sing. He had a voice that was angelic. And he knew his children could sing. And these are his children.
Number 18, Questlove. The episode featuring Roots drummer and joint frontman Questlove was more than just a deep dive into his ancestry. It also unveiled a surprising connection to a pivotal chapter in American history.
Amir Thompson, better known as Questlove, has one of the most astonishing stories we've ever recovered.
Although the international slave trade was officially banned in the US in 1807, illegal smuggling persisted for years. The last known ship to bring captives from Africa to the US was Clotilda, which illegally transported 110 people from what is now the Republic of Benin.
I'm on the absolute last ship that ever came here.
Through Finding Your Roots, Questlove discovered that his great-great-great-grandparents, Charles and Maggie Lewis, were among those smuggled on Clotilda. Seeing a picture of Charles Lewis was so overwhelming for Questlove that it moved him to tears.
I said I wasn't going to cry, man. I didn't know who I was or who I came from.
Number 17, Julia Roberts. Imagine going through life only to discover you've been rocking the wrong surname the whole time. That's exactly what happened to Julia Roberts.
The story begins with her great-grandfather, John Roberts, and with his mother, a woman named Rhoda Suttle. You ever hear that name?
No.
On the show, Roberts uncovered a family secret involving her great-grandfather, John Roberts. An 1880 census listed a 2-year-old John living with his siblings and mother, Rhoda Suttle, but there was no mention of Rhoda's husband, Willis Roberts.
You notice anyone missing?
A dad?
A dad. The dad is missing.
That's because Willis died over a decade prior. Clearly, he couldn't have fathered John.
Julia, Willis Roberts could not possibly be your great-great-grandfather. He was dead.
But But am I not a Roberts?
A deeper dive into the family's DNA revealed John's true father was a married man named Henry MacDonald Mitchell Jr., who likely had an affair with Rhoda. So technically, Robert's actual name should be Julia Mitchell, which, let's be honest, just doesn't have the same ring to it.
So we're Mitchells?
You're Julia Mitchell.
Number 16, Andy Samberg. From a young age, comedian Andy Samberg's mother, Margie, knew she was adopted. But uncovering the identity of her biological parents proved difficult. Even a private detective hired by the family came up empty-handed. So Samberg enlisted Henry Louis Gates Jr. to help crack the case.
It's something that I really wished for my mother, because I know that it would be something to give her peace about it, just to know.
Using historical records and vague descriptions from the adoption agency, they zeroed in on a woman named Ellen Phillipsborn. To confirm the connection, they tracked down Phillipsborn's niece and compared her DNA to Margie's, which turned out to be a match.
Your mother and Renata's daughter share about 13.5% of their DNA, which puts them solidly in the range of first cousins.
Holy cow.
They were also able to identify Margie's father, a sailor named Salvatore Maida. Interestingly, Phillipsborn got pregnant while studying child psychology at UC Berkeley and shared Margie's passion for working with children.
My mom is someone that always everyone describes as like a child whisperer, that she just knows how to deal with kids. She understands kids. It's the thing she was drawn to her inexplicably.
Number 15, Edward Norton. The 9th season premiere of Finding Your Roots didn't just drop a bombshell about Julia Roberts, it also unearthed some surprising facts about fellow actor Edward Norton.
Well, I was fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by the idea of roots, the idea of what drives people to leave one place and go to another.
To start, Norton found out he is actually distantly related to Roberts. But that's not all. He also discovered that Pocahontas is his 12th great-grandmother, confirming a family legend he had heard his entire life.
Pocahontas is indeed your 12th great-grandmother.
However, the journey through Norton's ancestry wasn't all rosy. An 1850 North Carolina census revealed that his 3rd great-grandfather, John Winstead, owned enslaved people, some of whom were children. It was a sobering moment for the actor, who acknowledged it not as a judgment on his own life, but an uncomfortable truth that must be contended with.
I mean, when you go away from census counts and you personalize the thing, you're talking about possibly a husband and wife with 5 girls.
Number 14, Fred Armisen. Fred Armisen's grandfather, Masami Kuni, seemed like an ordinary guy, a Japanese dancer who lived in Germany before moving to the US later in life.
I met him, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 times.
What did your father say? What did he say? He said, I'm gonna take you to meet your grandfather?
Yeah, or Cooney's coming.
But it wasn't until he appeared on Finding Your Roots that Armisen realised Cooney was anything but ordinary. In actuality, Cooney was South Korean, born in 1908 as Park Yong-in. He only assumed a Japanese identity after the 1923 massacre of Koreans in Japan. While living in Germany, Cooney performed for frontline troops, subtly aiding propaganda efforts for the Nazis.
In essence, your grandfather traveled around occupied territories, putting on performances for German soldiers.
Wow.
That's what he was being paid for.
Perhaps even more surprising, Cooney also doubled as a spy for Japan during this period, gathering intelligence from the Germans and feeding it back. He wasn't just a dancer, he was practically a master of disguise.
And it's one way in that isn't a soldier. I suppose that is what espionage is all about.
Number 13, Mandy Patinkin. Actor Mandy Patinkin was born to a family of Jewish immigrants from Russia and Poland.
This is the very moment that your great-grandfather arrived in America.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Nevertheless, he went his entire life believing that none of his relatives had perished in the Holocaust. In this season's 7 episode, however, Patinkin learned he was sorely mistaken. Host Henry Louis Gates Jr. revealed a document showing that his grandfather's cousin, Lazar Patinka, and his family were among those rounded up in the Polish town of Brandsk.
Did your grandma Celia ever talk about this with you all?
No.
They were then sent to the Treblinka concentration camp where they all sadly lost their lives. Discovering this heartbreaking truth brought Patinkin to tears, a powerful reminder that the consequences of hate are never too far away from any of us.
I was never given this information. This is... I don't have words. That's unbelievable.
Number 12, Sunny Hostin. Sometimes new information comes and flips your world upside down. The View co-host Sunny Hostin knows this all too well.
When did you first realize that you wanted to make an impact on the world?
Oh, I was probably 7 or 8.
Hostin had already identified as Afro-Latina, proudly embracing what she believed were her half Puerto Rican roots. But the reality was much different. A DNA test on Finding Your Roots revealed Hostin was only 7% Puerto Rican, with a significant portion of her ancestry being Spanish.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican.
She also learned that her maternal 4th great-grandfather was a Spanish merchant likely tied to the slave trade, and his son, Ferman, even owned at least one enslaved person.
I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
The discovery was a bitter pill to swallow, especially for Hostin's mother, who identified as Puerto Rican and was involved in the civil rights movement.
My mother especially was very politically active. And would sort of take me on marches and protests and stuff like that. And I took it to heart.
Number 11, Joe Manganello. When Joe Manganello appeared in this season 9 episode, he uncovered some jaw-dropping truths about his family tree.
The Turks came into her home in 1915 under the guise of World War I.
His maternal great-grandmother's survival of the Armenian genocide was a heroic tale, but it was his paternal ancestry that host Henry Louis Gates Jr. labeled one of the show's all-time greatest hits.
I'm going to tell you about your Cutler family.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
DNA analysis showed that the actor was not related to Emilio Manganello, the man he believed to be his grandfather. Instead, the team traced his roots to his actual paternal great-grandparents, William Henry Cutler and Nellie Olson, an interracial couple who defied societal norms by marrying at a time when it was unacceptable.
So your great-grandparents had a tremendous amount of courage.
Gutsy.
This revelation was confirmed by further DNA testing, which showed that Manganello is 7% sub-Saharan African. Number 10, Tina Fey. At first glance, it may appear that Tina Fey and founding father Benjamin Franklin share nothing in common, other than their luscious shoulder-length locks, of course. However, a surprising connection between the two was revealed on Finding Your Roots. It turns out Fey's paternal 5th great-grandfather was John Hewson, an English textile manufacturer trained in London.
That looks so much like my dad.
Really?
Yes.
Hewson moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the suggestion of his friend Benjamin Franklin, who helped him establish a quilting factory there. Shortly after, the American Revolution broke out and reached Pennsylvania. Despite being English himself, Hewson seemingly opposed British colonialism in America and served as a patriot during the war.
Full name of soldier, Captain John Hewson.
Today, his quilt work still hangs at the Met.
I tried to make a quilt once. I didn't finish.
So maybe you didn't get the quilting gene.
I didn't get it. I didn't get the quilting gene.
Number 9, Brendan Fraser. It's not uncommon for striking employees to harbour anger and frustration towards so-called scab workers. But it seems one of actor Brendan Fraser's ancestors may have taken things a little too far.
What's it like to read that, to think that is your ancestor shooting another man?
Fraser's great-great-grandfather, Patrick Devine, migrated from Ireland to the US and found employment in a Pennsylvania coal mine. As an Irish immigrant, Devine faced discrimination at work and protested a wage reduction by going on strike.
1900 census shows him working again in the mines, meaning that somehow he got himself rehired, despite having fired shots at his replacement.
When scab workers replaced the striking employees, Devine and another engineer shot one of the replacements, although he miraculously survived.
They had a plan.
That's criminal.
It was a shocking revelation for Fraser, who couldn't help but wonder if his ancestors' extreme actions did anything to solve the underlying issues.
I don't believe you should fire guns at people to get what you need, but then again, it's not 1875 right now.
Number 8, Angela Davis. Throughout her career as a political activist, Angela Davis has consistently fought against various forms of structural racism.
Racism is indeed the key problem faced by the people of the country, and the threat of fascism is growing.
So when she appeared on Finding Your Roots in 2023, it was shocking to learn that her ancestors were among America's first white settlers. Davis was revealed to be a descendant of William Brewster, one of the 102 passengers who arrived at the colonies on the Mayflower. The ironic discovery serves as a poignant reminder of the intricate nature of human ancestry. Davis's heritage also extends throughout a complex mix of bloodlines involving slave owners and enslaved people. Notably, one of her ancestors played a pivotal role in securing the freedom of his nephews by taking their master to court.
So do you see a little bit of him and his determination trickling down that family tree of yours?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Number 7, Carrie Washington. Although Carrie Washington didn't necessarily make this shocking discovery on Finding Your Roots, it might not have come to light if not for the show.
We need to talk to you. That simple 6-word text message changed Carrie Washington's life forever.
The actress, who had reportedly always felt a disconnect with her dad, opted to undergo a genealogy test on the series. However, she noticed her father's reluctance to provide DNA samples for the procedure. This apparently stemmed from the fact that Washington's parents had conceived her using a sperm donor, a detail they never disclosed to her.
The revelatory news that she was not her father's biological child sent Carrie on an emotional journey of self-discovery that she's sharing in her new memoir, Thicker Than Water.
Realizing that the test would uncover this information, Washington's parents finally revealed the truth. The actress credits host Henry Louis Gates Jr. for encouraging her parents to come clean, acknowledging that it has strengthened her bond with them.
You know, at some point we have to accept that our parents do the best they can, and then we have to fill the gap by parenting ourselves.
Number 6, Anderson Cooper. When award-winning journalist Anderson Cooper appeared on Finding Your Roots in October 2014, he made a disconcerting revelation about one of his ancestors.
Holy crap.
Cooper's 4th great-grandfather, Burwell Doykin, was a slave owner in the southern United States, overseeing a plantation with 12 slaves. At some point, one of the enslaved people managed to escape, but he was later recaptured and locked in a shed. The escapee eventually rebelled and fatally attacked Boykin with a farm hoe.
Oh my God! That's amazing.
For this act of defiance, the slave was executed without a fair trial. Despite being stunned by the violent nature of the murder, Cooper acknowledged he felt no sympathy for his late ancestor.
Think he deserved it?
Yeah.
You do?
I have no doubt.
It's a horrible way to die, Anderson.
He had 12 slaves. I don't feel bad for him.
Number 5, Bill Maher and Bill O'Reilly. They are two of the most contrasting political commentators on the air. Bill Maher is an outspoken liberal atheist, while Bill O'Reilly is as much of a conservative Christian as anyone can get.
I mean, if you're a religious person and the Bible is written by God, why is stuff in the Bible untrue?
Well, because it's allegorical, Bill.
However, despite their stark differences, both men share a surprising connection. In a Season 3 episode of Finding Your Roots, it was revealed that the two polar opposite personalities are actually distant cousins. Through Y-DNA test analysis, both men were traced back to a common male ancestor from the medieval Irish kingdom of Brethna. It just goes to show that no matter how different we may appear to be, we often share more similarities than we realise.
You can pick your friends.
You cannot select your relatives.
Number 4, Joe Madison. Imagine going your entire life believing you know who exactly your parents are, only to have that belief completely shattered.
Growing up, he spent very little time living with his parents and came to me with basic questions about his roots.
That was the plight of veteran radio talk show host Joe Madison. In 2019, Madison appeared on Finding Your Roots and discovered, through a DNA test, that Felix Madison, the man he thought was his biological father, actually wasn't. This revelation was so sensitive that host Henry Louis Gates Jr. had to share it with Madison privately, away from all the cameras and recording equipment.
I appreciated your sincerity and concern.
Through the show, Madison also learned that his biological grandfather was one of the study subjects in the controversial Tuskegee syphilis experiment. Number 3, Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedwick. The 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon trivia game purports that every actor in Hollywood can be linked to Kevin Bacon by just 6 or fewer connections. If true, this would apply to his own wife, actress Kira Sedwick. However, in 2011, the couple discovered that their connection goes far beyond marital vows or a fun trivia game. In fact, through Finding Your Roots, Bacon and Sedwick learned that they are cousins.
Met that guy before?
See, I knew it! Although their relationship is quite distant, as the two are actually 9th cousins once removed. Interestingly, it appears the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon isn't limited to just Hollywood. Bacon was also revealed to be related to Brad Pitt, Barack Obama, and King Edward I.
Oh, the King of England. Edward I, King of England, is your 22nd great-grandfather. Look at that. You are descended from royalty. Wow.
Number 2, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's appearance on the 2nd season of Finding Your Roots sparked a controversy that threatened the show's future.
Wow, that is incredible.
Results of the genealogy tests exposed the fact that one of Affleck's ancestors was a slave owner. This revelation seemed to embarrass the actor, prompting him to request that the producers omit it in favour of less controversial details.
You are descended from a patriot.
I knew I felt a special affinity for the football team.
But you know what they say, nothing stays hidden under the sun. During the infamous Sony Pictures hack in 2014, an email leaked which revealed Affleck's unusual request. As a result, the 3rd season of Finding Your Roots was temporarily suspended. Affleck later apologised for his actions, and the show eventually returned to the air.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's so much of people's history that gets lost over time. You have to really work to hold on to it, I suppose.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Larry David and Bernie Sanders. On the surface, comedian Larry David and US Senator Bernie Sanders share a lot of similarities.
All of that activity certainly shaped my life.
They're both elderly Jewish men born in New York City in the 1940s. Sanders even had a brother named Larry, while David has impersonated the senator multiple times on Saturday Night Live.
Not a fan of the banks. They trample on the middle class, they control Washington, and why do they chain all their pens to the desks? Who's trying to steal a pen from a bank? Makes no sense!
However, when they both participated on Finding Your Roots in 2017, they discovered an even deeper connection. They're 6th cousins once removed. This surprising revelation seemed to delight both men.
What the hell?
Although they were clearly taken aback by it.
You're kidding.
Now we just eagerly anticipate seeing the fictionalized version of the discovery on Curb Your Enthusiasm. What surprising discoveries have you made in your family tree? Share them with us in the comments below.
Please turn the page and meet your genetic cousin.
Julianne?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.